Working backwards from Endwalker, we've now reached A Realm Reborn in this series, where it all began. And here we'll be covering all 34 mounts added in the original 2.0 launch and where they come from. Kicking things off this time, we're going to go with mounts from Beast Tribes, for which, a bit different to all the other expansions, we actually have 5 Beast Tribes with 5 mounts, as opposed to the usual 3. And first up, we have the Laurel Gubu mount. This is from the Sulfic Beast Tribe in the East Shroud after getting them to rank 4. Then we have the Cavalry Drake, which is from the Amaljar Beast Tribe in Southern Thanalan, again after getting them to rank 4. Third, the Bomb Palanquin, which is from the Kobold Beast Tribe in Outer Lenosha after getting them to rank 4 as well. Fourth in this category, we have the Cavalry Alps from the Sahaguins in the Western Lenosha, again, as you probably guessed it, after getting them to rank 4. And then fifth, the Direwolf from getting the Ixali Beast Tribe in the North Shroud to rank 7 this time. Next up, we have a couple of mounts added via the player commendation system. First, we had the Gilded Magitech Armour, obtained from an achievement for receiving 500 player commendations. And then second, the Parade Chocobo, again, an achievement, this time receiving 3,000 recommendations. Next, we have the only other mount in the game specific to a job, which isn't a tank mount, and that is the Unicorn mount, only obtainable as a Conjurer. If unaware, this is a side quest connected to the White Mage base class, Conjurer. Once you get Conjurer to level 30, you can unlock the quest Unicorn Power in Old Gridania. Note, you do have to be a Conjurer to do the quest, so if you're already a White Mage, unequip your Soul Stone to go back and do it. Next, we'll move on to the good old Extreme Trial mounts, of which A Realm Reborn added 8 to the game. First, we've got the Embar mount from Leviathan, aka the Whirl Eater Extreme. We've then got Gulfaxi from Titan in the Naval Extreme. We've then got Vanthos from Garuda in the Howling Eye Extreme. Aethon from Ifrit in the Bowl of Embers Extreme. Then Markab dropped from Ramu in the Striking Tree Extreme. Boreas from the Uk-Uf Amphitheater Extreme, aka Shiva. And then we have the Super Horse, the Super Extreme Trial mount, Kieran, obtained from a simple side quest from the Wanderer Minstrel in Mordona, which unlocks after you have all other of the 6 horses which we've just covered. If you haven't already got it, once you're at level 90, these fights are extremely easy to do solo and unsynced, so this one's now incredibly quick and easy to get. That's 7 Extreme Trial mounts covered. There is actually one more, the Nightmare Horsey. This is the bonus in A Realm Reborn from the perspective that it is not required for the Super Kieran mount, and it's available as a drop from each of the Bowl of Embers Extreme, the Howling Eye Extreme, and the Naval Extreme, so Ifrit, Garuda, or Titan. Next up, Gold Saucer mounts, and with the introduction of the Gold Saucer in patch 2.51, it came with 2 initial mounts. The first being Fenrir, absolute epic mount which I got as quickly as possible. Followed by the Adamantoise, which is brought with 200,000 MGP and actually has one of my favourite flying motions in the game. Next, we'll cover one mount provided by the ARR MSQ, and that is the Magitech Armour mount. Next, a mount not technically part of the MSQ, but one that is very much handed to you as your very first mount in the game as part of your initial journey, and that is of course the Company Chocobo, the most iconic mode of transportation over 3 decades of Final Fantasy games. This is rewarded once you get to level 20 from a side quest from each of the Grand Companies. Moving to our next section, we have 4 mounts all added to the game via PvP, and nicely all actually still available in the game. First up, we have the Flame Warsteed, which is for getting 100 victories in frontline PvP for the Immortal Flames. We then have the Serpent Warsteed, same thing but for the Order of the Twin Adder. And third, of course, the same again, but this time for the Maelstrom. Lastly in this section, we have the logistics system, which is to guide any of the 3 grand companies to a total of 200 frontline victories. Next, we'll cover everyone's least favourite section, which is those related to real money purchases. First up, the Curl Mount. This was offered as part of the A Realm Reborn Collector's Edition, which if you don't have it, you can still upgrade to via the Mog Station. Second, the Fat Chocobo Mount. This is actually now also part of the A Realm Reborn Collector's Edition. I say now because this technically wasn't part of the Collector's Edition on 2.0 launch, it was later added to the offering when the PS4 version released in 2014. Next, the Giraffe Chocobo, earned via the Recruit a Friend campaign after said friend has paid for at least 90 days subscription. We then have the Sleipnir Mount, which I believe is the first and only mount during A Realm Reborn added as a straight up purchase from the cash shop. Next, the Ceremony Chocobo, which is obtained via the Mog Station when purchasing either a Gold or Platinum Ceremony of Eternal Bonding, aka the in-game wedding. Next, the original 2 mounts added in to encourage people to play tank. They are the War Bear, which is an achievement for doing 200 high-level duties as a warrior. Absolutely correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this includes all extreme trials, savage, normal mode 8-man raids, plus I assume unreal fights. What I do know for sure though, as I've tested it, is that you can very easily, very quickly, spam something like Garuda Extreme as a level 90, solo and unsynced in no time at all. We then have the War Lion, which is achieved in exactly the same way, but this time for Paladin instead. Next, we have 2 mounts added originally via the Veteran Reward system. First up, the Behemoth Mount. This currently is available in exchange for achievement certificates from Johannes in Old Gridania, which he himself gives you for every 50 achievement points that you earn. This, as mentioned though, was originally added as part of the Veteran Reward system, which rewarded players for being subscribed to the game for certain lengths of time. And second here, we have the Orima Mount, which in exactly the same way is currently available from Johannes in Old Gridania for achievement certificates, but was originally a part of that same Veteran Reward system. And then last but not least, we have the single mount from A Realm Reborn, which is not only currently not available, but I'd be extremely confident in saying will never be made available again, and that is the Legacy Chocobo Mount. This is a very special mount gifted to players who had played and paid for at least 90 days of subscription time in a specific window leading up to the end of the original implementation of Final Fantasy IV, aka the cursed 1.0 version. And there we have it, all 273 mounts added from 2.0 onwards, covered in this series of 5 videos. Check out the description to this vid for every other video in the series, and we'll be sure to come back to this at the end of DawnTrail. Coming back to A Realm Reborn, there are a few mounts that I did really like in the base game, including Kiran, Fenrir, and Behemoth, but I'll be completely honest, I think they've all been superseded, and for me personally at least, I don't think any of these mounts make my top 5 anymore, bar for nostalgia's sake. Let me know if you still use any of these mounts today in the comments. I'd be eternally grateful if you could like and subscribe to complete the duty.